Hey, this is Chris Adler from Firstborn, and you are watching CMS TV.
It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That, of course, was Corrosion of Conformity with I guess what is more or less their theme song for the entire country every 4 years. That's Vote with a Bullet. And a guy that I'm sure is going to vote with a bullet is on the line with us right now. It's Mike Dean from Corrosion of Conformity. Mike, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. There'll be no voting with a bullet. I think that's kind of a description of a certain persona. It's not a recommendation.
It's not a theme. It's just
voting with a bullet. Just doesn't really foster like a stable democratic situation. It kind of fosters back and forth. Sure. Violence begets more violence. Exactly. I think you would say.
Exactly. Well, man, speaking of violence, obviously you've got a violent new album out there. Definitely I don't know what you would call it. Would you call this a new chapter to the band, or would you call it a continuation of the band, or what?
You could call it all of the above. It's kind of a throwback in a way. I mean, our most recent thing, if you're talking about what just came out several months ago in April, it's kind of a throwback, and that's reverting to three-piece in the personnel, but it's definitely a couple steps forward musically.
Sure.
So yeah, all of the above.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about the new album, or the most recent album, I guess, is that it is a throwback, but at the same time there's a lot of elements that just maybe kind of were not as prevalent in I'll call them the Pepper years, for lack of a better definition, but you guys brought back a more punkish influence that you had in the old days, and the songs are faster and heavier and just more aggressive. Was that on purpose, or is that just where you guys are as guys when you sat down to write this?
Pretty much the latter. I mean, we had an idea that we wanted to do something that was informed by animosity, because way back when, 1985ish, that's the last time we played as a three-piece, and so we started off thinking that way, but I mean, pretty soon you just come up with ideas and they don't necessarily fit the plan, so you just kind of, tear up the plan and just roll with it, and that's what we did. So, initially it was meant to be kind of a return to hardcore and what do they call it back then, crossover type of stuff.
Right.
But just it kind of became its own entity, and that's really the best way, and which is fortunate, because that's kind of the only way we can really work. We're not really that organized or intelligent enough to be very calculated about it. When we try, it just it doesn't really work out. So we just kind of roll with it, and that was the result, and we were happy with it.
Sure, absolutely, man. Well, and it's interesting when you listen to it. I guess in a way right now with the band, and especially with you guys with a tweaked lineup, so to speak, you can't really just listen to it as the continuation. In my eyes, maybe I'm wrong, but in my eyes, you can't listen to it as the continuation of where you were going, because if you listen to the last two records prior to this one, they were almost mellower. I don't want to say mellow, but they were definitely more laid back of a vibe than what this is, and it just feels different. Does it feel different to you when you guys are out there on the road, or even when you listen to these songs?
Yeah, yes and no. I think in a way there's a lot of elements on this self-titled LP you're talking about, that are a continuation from In the Arms of God, even though we didn't have Reed playing drums, and we had Stanton Moore from Galactic playing drums, and even though Pepper was still with us actively, I think that was kind of like where we were picking up and dusting off from. So there's some continuation there from In the Arms of God, which had some pretty aggressive stuff on it, as well as some kind of out there trippy stuff. But it is a little different. I mean, the major difference is, like, Pepper's a really prolific, kind of creative person, and he contributes a lot of stuff. So the minute that his direct influence is absent, then it's really time for everybody to step up, and who's going to step up and what's going to fill that void, kind of is the determining factor. And I think all in all, it's a pretty unified step forward that isn't completely another universe from what we've been doing the last 16 years or so.
Absolutely. Now, Mike, you've been on the road roughly on and off for roughly a year now, doing back as a 3-piece. How has the reception been to that, both initially when you started it and now that people have kind of adjusted to the fact that it's now a 3-piece?
It's been surprisingly good, because you never know what's going to happen in this kind of situation, and I know from my way of thinking, I just remember thinking, how Sepultura without Max? I mean, things like sure. that, and it's on, and Sabbath without Ozzy. Well, actually, these could turn out to be pretty good things. So, I think the response has been really good, and you have some people kind of turning up out of the woodwork who, for whatever reason, they were more into the hardcore earlier kind of thing, and not so much into more classic rock, southern rock informed type of stuff that we were doing more recently. And so they turned out kind of expecting animosity all over again, and it's not quite like that, but I don't think we've really alienated anybody. I think sure. I think people found it a little surprising, but not off-putting. So absolutely. That's a good result,
Sure.
Got to keep them guessing.
Absolutely. Was it difficult for you guys as a band yourself to, readjust, the music itself, especially in the live format? Because, I mean, a lot of these songs, a lot of the songs that you play live, you were also playing with Pepper, so you had developed a different dynamic on performing those songs, with Pepper, and then you kind of went another way, you adjusted back to the original way you played them live. Was that a difficult transition, or was it just natural, or what?
It was pretty natural. I mean, I think the only thing I could say is there's not too many songs that we would be performing with Pepper that we perform currently. Like just a few, maybe Deliverance, a little bit of 7 Days, couple things here and there. But I mean, the main thing is just there's nowhere to hide. It's just a bass guitar, drums. There's absolutely no place to hide a mistake or fudge anything. But on the other side of that, every element is really clear. So when you're actually nailing it, it sounds very good, and it's very easy to make it sound clear and for everything to be represented. Whereas the more distorted instruments you throw into an ensemble, the more the individual things can get lost. So it wasn't that difficult of an adjustment.
Sure. Now, do you think moving forward, and I've read various things that everybody has said along the way, do you think moving forward there's going to be another record in this lineup, or is there potential?
Oh, there's going to be another record in this lineup. I'm probably not even supposed to talk about it, but we have some stuff in the can as of recently, and we'll have some official word on when and how this is going to emerge. But yeah, we have some stuff that we recorded, just writing to mastering in 6 weeks' time. We just busted something out while we were home this last
Very cool.
period here. But that's not to say that we're not looking forward to attempting to get together with Pepper and do something that both of our schedules can do justice to supporting, and because we think it would be a fun thing to do, and it's interesting, or it's something to talk about, perhaps complain about, that we're doing 3-piece type of activity, and it's kind of a story, I suppose, but it'll also be a story if we were to get back with Pepper and do something.
Sure.
I think that would be worth talking about. So either way, any publicity is good publicity.
Right.
Complain about it.
Right.
Still publicity.
Hey metalheads, tired of waiting for new episodes? Crave the real raw classic metal show? For just $4.99 a month, you can become a CMS VIP. You get every episode a full week early, completely uncensored, and 100% commercial free. It's the only place to interact directly with the show, plus you score the Fast Pass, so your song requests get bumped straight to the head of the line on every live version. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now at classicmetalshow.locals.com and become a CMS VIP today.
And I mean, from the looks of things, though, it probably doesn't look like a Pepper thing is going to happen anytime soon, right? Because, I mean, he's getting ready to release, 4 records with Down, so you got to figure
that's the word. Yeah. They got 1 EP out, and there's allegedly 3 more, and yeah. So it might have to be a brief little foray. We might have to wait until their complete plan, an excellent sounding plan, excellent concept.
Sure.
Until that excellent sounding concept is complete, and
well,
so we're kind of prepared to wait till the right time, or move, just strike when the iron's hot. Just
right.
depends. We're playing it by ear,
Well, maybe
the situation is fluid. We could benefit from doing a record with Peppers, certainly, but we got a lot of ideas of our own that we want to get out there as well. So,
right.
Well, it's a good place to be.
And I'll just tell you what, Mike, as a fan, certainly a Down COC tour would not suck.
I'm not opposed to that. Yeah. I'm waiting on the invite there.
I hear you, man. Well, let me ask you about.
That would be a little hard. That would be a little hard on your boy, but.
Yeah, really. It's like, come on, dude, step up, help your
I'm
old
not
buddies.
sure I wouldn't say he's not used to working that hard, but I'm not sure he's used to working that long.
Very nice. Well, Mike, let me ask you about something that I read about a few years back, and I've been meaning to ask you for a few years, but never had the opportunity. I guess there was some incident at a show that you guys played in Tampa where somebody actually got stabbed to death in the pit. Were you aware of that? Or I'm sure you're probably aware of that. And whatever.
Yeah, we were aware of that, and we stopped playing, and that was kind of a drag. That was apparently unrelated to the event we were at. We were performing at, but yeah, it was just by coincidence happened to be 2 people who were tattoo artists. One of whom, the one who was murdered by this other jackass, sounded like a really decent guy, to say the least. Sounded like a really awesome guy. And I don't know what transpired between them, whether there was some prior issue or it was really just, you stepped on my foot,
right,
type of thing. But yeah, that was really, it was really a drag.
Now, I'm always curious when awful stuff like that happens, does that end up being a problem for the band as far as do you end up getting sued, or does the club sue you, or the families, or any of that? I'm
certain that could happen. I'm certain that could and does happen. That didn't happen.
That's cool.
To put terrible on top of really
right.
awful. Yeah, no, there was nothing like that occurred, thankfully.
Sure.
That would have been really the icing on the cake.
Yeah, no kidding. That would not be cool, man. Definitely not. Well,
but, I don't know, in a situation like that, who is responsible for security, and how much security do you want to endure at a show, and how much do we as a band who's going to have a rock show or play somebody else's rock show, or we as a society, how much security do we want to have? How much do we want to change our, the way we roll, the way we have fun, just because the possibility of some person who's not right doing something like that, you see that concept all around, So
sure. Yeah, it's definitely a
the
drag.
person, the survivors of this one particular dude who lost his life completely senselessly because of some jerk, kind of saw,
right,
kind of felt that going the legalistic type of way was not really what they believed in. But you can always make a case that somebody didn't do enough.
Right. Sure. Well, but it's hard. It's always, I always find it just like the Randy Blythe thing, and that's why I bring it up, is because Randy Blythe had that incident, and he was held obviously in wherever it was, the Czech Republic, and Randy's just on stage performing, and somebody jumps up in his face, he pushes him off, and then he's presumed guilty. It just doesn't make sense how the bands who are just basically doing their job, more or less, could be perceived as guilty in a situation like that.
Yeah, that was a little extreme, and that had people, we were just about to go play shows in the Czech, which is a really awesome place, one of the best places in Europe you could go play, and one of the best places to live and create or anything like that. And so what you had, you had just a couple of officials who decided this was the way to go, a couple of people in the prosecutor's office or the police or something, and they held him up. But when it finally went to a court for his hearing, then reason prevailed, and they let him go. And I think when it comes to an actual trial, that justice will be served, and that their courts will show that they're not this dark Eastern European place that
right.
Maybe these couple of officials, and that happens in the United States, in all kinds of situations over the years. And so we were poised to go play a metal festival in Yarmur, Czech Republic, as this was going on, and people were like, screw that country. It's like, no, you've never been to that country, and
right.
That's an awesome country. And just because certain officials in their government, and I mean certain small officials in their government, the modern Czech Republic was founded. Basically, the first president was Václav Havel. He was persecuted like all during his teens and 20s for being into Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. They were like his biggest influence.
Wow.
It was just like this the whole Velvet Revolution thing where
sure.
they peacefully like cast off communism. It was just this really creative, freedom-loving type of thing. So then to see these petty officials give them a bad name was really disappointing. But yeah, I've seen most of the video of the Randy Blythe thing, and it really looked like security hammered this dude a couple times, and
right.
and the audience, I saw him push the guy a little bit. The guy was in his face, and then the guy was back for more, and then security had him, and then 3 minutes later the guy is on the ground getting stomped by the audience. The guy was obviously inebriated,
right.
and shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been allowed to stay there in the first place.
Sure. That has to scare you though in some way about going back, because I've been to 15 COC shows in my life, and there's always people jumping up on stage, and most of the time it's just innocent people just want to jump up and then jump off, but you got it when you see what happened to Randy, and it is still going on. Does that not at least set in your mind thinking, well, maybe do we really want to go there and take that chance?
Yeah, I think you got to be careful, and rightfully so, not just for legalistic reasons, but yeah, you got to be careful. So it's bad luck. It's bad luck to mess people up. Bad things happen when you do it.
Exactly right.
And whether you were justified or not. so yeah, you got to take the high road, err on the side of tolerance and prevention, for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I used to when people would come up and I would be singing and have my hands full of the bass, I would tend to deliver a kick to the midsection, and that might cause them to fall off a 5 or 10 foot stage. So
right.
Since that incident, I've kind of concluded that maybe that's not a wise path of defense there, and we might have to actually have somebody on stage with us to keep my teeth from being knocked in.
Right, exactly.
I like to keep what's left of my teeth that beer league hockey hasn't claimed.
Very nice. Well, Mike, where can people go to find out everything that's going on with C.O.C. and tour dates and hear samples and all that stuff? Well, there is the old time COC.com is flush with all that, and check us out on Facebook, Corrosion of Conformity. That's probably like the best awesome
place to check it out. Yeah, we're gonna have some information regarding a new release coming up soon, like really soon, but I'm not actually talking about it. I'm just sort of.
You're theorizing.
I'm planting that seed, but
Right.
I can't actually disclose any particulars. But yeah, we're about to launch something sudden.
Very cool. Well, dude, before I let you go, let me ask you what is known as the traditional classic metal show question. How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
I think realizing that that you can, as a musician, that you can use the word "all right" with a slight raise in pitch at the end, almost like a question, as a substitute for a good line of lyrics. All right. I've been throwing that in there lately, and yeah, Lemmy, just amazing.
Excellent, man. Well, dude, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick the closing track, maybe tell us a story about it. So what would you like us to wrap this up with?
Anything?
Anything you'd like.
Wow. I think Wheels of Confusion by Black Sabbath.
All right. And why that one?
Because it jams, dude.
Good enough. Well, let's check it out. It is Black Sabbath. It's Wheels of Confusion.
Want to watch the classic metal show on your big screen instead of your phone or computer? Now you can with the Rumble app. The Rumble app is available on most smart TVs and streaming devices. Just download the app, open it, and search for Classic Metal Show. You'll instantly get access to all the latest episodes on demand. Plus, catch the entire live broadcast every Saturday night and watch exclusive live-streamed events as they happen. Download the Rumble app today, search for Classic Metal Show, and subscribe now. The Classic Metal Show. Metal. Talk. Streaming live and on demand.